You plucked me from obscurity. I will admit that. But I also taught you how to look at turf sprints better.
That's so true. That's so true. I was a terrible turf sprint handicapper until I met this man right here. But enough with the turf sprints. It's time to go for a dirt route. The dirt route, the race that gives the day its name, the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks. JK, I'm going to keep it with you to hear who you think is going to win this one.
Yeah, look, I mean, Lucara, I think, is very good. It's hard to argue about good cheer. Those two horses won't beat me in multi-race wagers, but my top choice is going to be Quiet Side. I teased it a little bit earlier. When you run well and impressively well at Saratoga as a 2-year-old against all those monsters and those big trainers and those big horses, you look at Quiet Side's 2-year-old year, right? I mean, she won first out. Then she lost to Immersive, who was a champion, a multiple Grade 1 winning champion. And then, you know, she ran well in the Goldenrod. She lost to Good Cheer. And then all of her races this year have been fine. I mean, I think she had an excuse in her comeback race in the Martha Washington, and her Honeybee and her Fantasy were sensational. I just think she's really damn good, and I'm not really worried about where she drew. You know, I mean, if you think about it, Catherine Sophia, if I'm not mistaken, won from the 12. Pretty Mischievous won from the 14. Serengeti Empress won from the 13. Like, I don't care that she's drawn wide out there. She's tactical enough to be able to get over, get into the 2 or the 3 path. Like I said, I'm not trying to beat the other horses, but I just think she's going to have be great value.
I get it. Phillip, how do you see this year's Kentucky Oaks?
Yeah, this is a race. Typically, I was trying to find an alternative to Good Cheer. I think she kind of parallels for me a lot of times with like some Southern California dirt colts, where it's every race is a 4-horse field or a small field of kind of inferior horses, and she just gets a perfect trip every time. She's just been way better than what she's run against so far, you know, more or less in her entire career. But she's just not faster than anybody else on really any speed figures. I ended up picking her just because I do think she's the most likely winner. I think Tenma's kind of interesting. She's only lost 1 race in her life. And, you know, very rarely are you going to get Baffert at 10-1 plus. And she just feels like a horse that's got maybe some tactical versatility. I think she definitely wants the 1 1/8. And then one last horse I think I'm a little bit intrigued with is Chad's Philly Ballerina D'Oro. To me, she just feels like she's far from the finished product. And I could see her taking a forward step, and I think she'll absolutely love the distance. I think there's a scenario where the pace could get pretty hot, and I just think she's a horse that's going to see the distance out. So
there you go. I will regret saying these words, but I think this might be the rare case where the fact that Good Cheer's speed figures don't give her a huge edge over this field actually doesn't matter. I just love that last race visually. I thought that she was wide on a day when ground loss mattered and did so easily enough that she's got more in hand. I'm definitely on her for the top pick. I absolutely respect Quiet Side. I'm going to give you just a very goofy long shot for 3rd and 4th because, you know, there are bets like the trifecta and the superfecta. Number 4, Drexel Hill, will be touted by no one. And I think you can make a little bit of a story based on this one's form. Looking at the figures, there's a gap between her and the fastest of these, but I think it might be a bridgeable gap. I think pace-wise, this one's very versatile. The distance is going to test her, but I just think she fits a little bit more than it looks like on paper, and it's a 30-1 shot who could run 3rd or 4th. So that's one that I just wanted to make a little bit of a vote for. Maggie, what do you think about this one?
As far as horses that might be a little bit of a bigger price than Good Cheer, I kind of like Witt's other horse, who will be a far smaller price than Drexel Hill, but simply joking. Look, if this race didn't possess other speed types, I would have picked her on top. I loved her race in the Fantasy in defeat because there's only one option for Jaime Torres, and he had to go, and he was just run down by a horse who had recency, who is very good, and who has run with some of the best horses in the country in Quiet Side. So I kind of get why that happened, because, simply joking, missed the Rachel Alexandra because she had a fever. She missed some time training. So there's every reason to believe that she needed that race back. Like I said, I wish there wasn't any other speed types in here. She could ultimately prove to be the fastest, and she's drawn well. The one thing I will say about Quiet Side, who I wholeheartedly respect, she was tired after that last race. I interviewed Jose Ortiz on the pony at Oaklawn, and I had to run back on the pony to get him. Usually I'm running to them galloping out. I had to run backwards the wrong way on the track because he pulled her up quick and she was so it did take a little bit out of her.
Stamina concerns.
Right. So Good Cheer, you know, until she does something wrong. She's looking to be the first since Rachel Alexandra to win the Oaks undefeated. So those are pretty big hooves to fill. Yeah.
We're going to see how it plays out in the Kentucky Oaks. We're going to take a 10-minute break. So this is an excellent opportunity to, we got the bar open over there. We got the food still rocking over there. We also have the Medallion Syndicate rocking and rolling. If you head down that way, you'll have an opportunity to, you see with the hand and whatnot, to get involved in that, have an opportunity to wager if you're in-house. If you're watching online, we're going to be back soon. If you're watching the replay, whatever, you're done with me, just go click on the Derby video. It's going to be a lot of fun. We do encourage you to subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel, and we'll be back in just a minute.